Until fairly recently, I would say Freyna primarily only had one style for mobbing, and that was with the use of the Contagion Red module. However, Venom Synthesis had got a pretty sweet buff that a lot of people just don't know about. So, I've built Freyna up for Venom Synthesis, so let me show you exactly how I play Freyna, and as you can see, even spidering with Freyna now is viable, which I think is just cool as hell. So, let's get on into today's video. So, let's get on into the build for Freyna with this unique Venom Synthesis playstyle. Starting off, we are of course going to be using Venom Synthesis. So with Venom Synthesis, this is the loadout you are going to use. Now it is very similar to the Contagion loadout, with, you know, the modules not ranging too much from it. However, there's a few differences. The way that I play Freyna is by using the Spider Grapple and not really using her first ability much, which is just spreading Toxic. Now, if you were to use this a little bit more, which I kind of am forcing myself to do, you will get more damage out of it. But this is the mod loadout. Make sure you use Decimator because that's just a ton of free damage for Freyna. So, yeah, this is essentially what you are going to need for your actual build. Next up, let's talk about the reactor and the external components. Now for the reactor, I am recommending the tactical rifle mounting because we will be using Secret Garden for the tech buff. Now, toxic and tech in the middle, of course, and then range, tech, or toxic would be nice on the bottom. Range is pretty cool, tech is ideally the best, and then toxic is also pretty good, but one of these three stats is more than capable of giving you the reactor that you need. So that's what you're going to want to go with. Now for the external components, you are going to be wanting to run the Plague set. Now Plague, the standard parts that you are going to want, or standard stats you are going to want, is MP recovery out of combat, MP recovery in combat, and then MP recovery modifier. I don't even have the modifier, and this build still works really great. So apart from that, these are going to be the stats that you want. Something similar, resistances go nice with this as well. Now for the weapon, I did mention we are using the Secret Garden. Now the way that I play specifically, I use a sprint weapon and a grapple weapon. Meaning I rotate between a sprinting Secret Garden and then also between a grapple Secret Garden. So in the bigger zones I can get my grapples in, and in the smaller zones I can sprint no problem. Now with the mod config on the Secret Garden, this is what I'm going with. A fairly standard Secret Garden that does work fairly well. Just a basic build for some damage with fire on it. Alternatively, this is a second option, but you are going to want to make sure that you are using Brisk Walk, so you might need to adjust this a little bit and reduce the damage output, but having Brisk Walk on here is going to be the main thing. It'll help you run a little bit faster. Next up, let's talk about our last weapon, which is just going to be the Malevolent. I use 2 Secret Gardens. If you use different stat sticks, then that's perfectly fine, but Secret Garden is going to be ideal. For Malevolent, you know, just the standard full Purge build is all you're going to need. So yeah, that's essentially all you're going to need for your weaponry. Now for the Arche tuning tree. So let's go on over this one. Now with the tree, this is the tree that I have actually been using with Freyna in this exact instance. It's got extra movement on it, which works quite nice. But honestly, if you were to put cooldown on here instead of having all these go down, that would also work quite well. But this is just my preference, and this is the tree that I use. So with all of the build out of the way, let's get on into some more gameplay. So let's start off with some gameplay of some 400%. Now here we are running Magister Lab. Now the way that you would play this Freyna build is slightly different. Instead of actually caring about what's going on around you, you just skip over it, you run over it, and then you just do damage to everything. Over here I ran so fast I outsped the bloody checkpoint of the game, but once that's over, this is what I would do. I would just begin by doing the spidering system, or even mixing in Freyna's one as well to basically just cover areas that are all the way across like the other side of the room. For example, the upper layers of this over here. But I do think that just generally you can see that this wipes just as fast. Does it take a second extra to get set up? I would say yeah. Is it faster than Contagion? Possibly. But I think that this does require you to like pay way more attention to your playstyle, and I personally find Freyna a ton more fun playing her like this. Now, initially I wasn't even that big of a fan of the Venom Synthesis setup, but when you just see it rip apart things like this just as fast as Contagion, you really you start to feel something, man. It's really fun. I do honestly enjoy using Freyna like this so much, and considering that this is more so of a hands-on playstyle versus Freyna's traditional contagion, I do like it as well. And you can see here that even in about a minute and a half, we're almost at the end of this mission. So you can see we're doing pretty good over here. Now, the final bosses, even with these, you can see that they just constantly take tons of big boy damage from Freyna. So, you know, it's really worthwhile, and I honestly think that this is great. Now, you should 100% also be using Freyna's 4th ability just to get like a ton of fast damage off. In this gameplay, I don't believe I did use it, but then after experimenting with it even more, after I was done with recording the video, then I was using it a lot more, and I was like, dang, this ability is cooking. So, you know, make sure to use your 4th ability as well. But regardless, you can see that this doesn't really struggle with anything. Just takes a few seconds with the Malevolent, and then Bob's your uncle, and everything just dies. Simple as it gets. Freyna is already one of the strongest Descendants, so doing this build on her makes her even stronger. Next up, we've got some Sigma Sector gameplay. Now, I did show you some gameplay in the intro anyways, but let me just continue and show you some more over here. Now, with this, you do want to make sure to use your first ability as well. Something I didn't really need to do in Magister Labs that much, just because the area was already small. But using your first ability will allow you to basically spread your toxic just faster, more damage as well. So, you know, there's no harm in using it. It's just better for overall longevity, I would say. But you can see here, ripping everything apart with Freyna is not a problem at all. And honestly, I do think that this is a pretty good way to play. Now, even with this, when it comes to handling other levels of mobs, you just switch over to your Malevolent, and there's no problem. My main playstyle is essentially using the one Garden to sprint, second Garden to grapple, and then this one weapon for DPS on elites or stuff that I need to DPS if my toxic isn't already affecting them. But for the most part, I've never really had any issues when it comes to running any dungeons, any 400% or any Sigmas or anything, just because everything is set up so much so in a way that your damage is already very capable, and then everything else is already just, you know, it's already kicking, it's already vibing and grooving, and Freyna just is great. She's one of my favorite Descendants, and this shows you exactly why. Now, let's just quickly go on over the last bit over here. Hang on a second, and let's take care of these few mobs, and then we're just going to kill off the final bosses inside Sigma as well. Now, this is Sigma bosses, you know, they're not really anything crazy, but honestly, it is a really nice change of pace. I didn't think that this build would ever really be possible, because Freyna's never really had the trail work with grapple, but you can see here, as soon as we build up all them stacks with Decimator, it just rips apart the bosses. Even in a public lobby, you're not going to struggle with this, which is essentially what you want. Pretty damn good, in my opinion. Now, you can see here, I'm just spidering. I'm just letting the DOT take over, because with Freyna, damage over time is also a pretty neat touch. That, and I don't have any ammo in my Malevolence, you know, I'll keep it real with you guys. I'll keep it real with you guys. But yeah, you can see here, taking care of all the mobs basically instantly, and then just, you know, letting the time bite out. In solo, of course, this would be faster, but over here you can still see it's fast as hell anyways. But that is it for Sigma Sector gameplay. So let me pull up one final comparison, because I do think that this is something that I should address. Now, all that gameplay I showed of my Freyna hitting over 100,000, 110, 120,000 was all with the Plague set. Also damaged, I appreciate you, man, thank you so much. So in this run, I am in fact using the Slayer set. Now with Slayer set, you can see my Freyna hitting 70 to 90,000 with the Venom Synthesis and with the Toxic, which is of course less than the Plague set. So what this essentially proves is, use your Plague set for Freyna, it is better in the long run. Your Slayer damage might build up to being what your Plague set damage is, but Plague is just more consistent in my opinion. Let me just quickly speed this all the way up till the point where I'm done with the run, and then I will show you the set that I'm using, the build that I'm using, basically everything that I'm using, and you'll see that this is just essentially identical to what I'm running with the Plague set. However, just Plague set is better optimized for Freyna with Venom Synthesis specifically. Now, I have to mention that it's specific to Venom Synthesis, because I do think Contagion is a little bit different. But let's quickly just back out, and then let's have a look at what I am running, just to prove my point over here. Right, now that we're back in the Albion, so you can see our set is the Slayer, our build is the absolute complete and utter exact same build, so the build is the same modules everywhere, but then the external components is where it gets a little bit different. And as you can see in this gameplay over here, I was indeed actually running the Slayer set. So this is exactly why you're going to want to change and get rid of that Slayer set, specifically on this build at least, and make sure to use that Plague set. But that's basically been this video, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, please do smash that like button. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!